Today, Judge Aaron Subramanian walked into the courthouse asking what happened. Lead counsel on both sides are being held responsible by the justice presiding over the Sean Combs sex trafficking case after proceedings that were sealed got leaked to the press. Well, someone's lying, the judge said. One or more people in this courtroom or the designated people who were here on Friday flagrantly violated this court's orders. Now, Mark Agnifilio and Maureen Comey both denied involvement on behalf of their respective teams. That's the defense and the prosecution. But get into this. When juror number 6 was dismissed yesterday, which was Monday, the other jurors were told of his departure, but they weren't given an explanation. Now, remember, I told you all that juror number 6 was dismissed based on his residency status. According to what they're saying, juror number 6, who is a black male and was one of 2 black men on the jury, was dismissed because even though he was from the Bronx and lived in the Bronx, he technically also was living in New Jersey. And they were saying that because he was living in New Jersey but also living in the Bronx, technically it might have been a gray area and there were some issues with residency, and so that became that. Now, the black male's replacement with the white male, with a white male who's 55 years old and was an alternate, was never discussed with the jury. So what it looks like is going to happen is that white man is just going to pop up. Before the jury took their place, Brendan Paul, who is another of Combs' assistants, now you may know that name, is scheduled to take the witness stand tomorrow. But today he was given immunity after he practiced, of course, his Fifth Amendment right to, not testify. Now, Paul, who had been widely considered to be Combs' alleged drug mule, wore a double-breasted black suit with pointy-toed black shoes and ankle socks, which he tucked into the shoes. So it kind of gave that cool Milanese, I'm not wearing any socks, but really I am look. And then he had on a white button down that he didn't wear a tie with. Now, Paul's hair was shaven on the sides, and then he obviously kept some hair up top, and then he didn't have any facial hair. So he looked like he normally looked, but he was giving like a very Italian suiting kind of style and look. Now, within 2 minutes of the judge granting him this immunity order, Paul switched places with Special Agent D'Elisa Penland, and the jury then walked in. Combs' former assistant ended up leaving for the day. Now, had that cross-examination not taken so long, he probably would have started getting questioned today. But as it stands, Brendan Paul will end up testifying tomorrow. I suspect it's probably going to take all day. Penland is a special agent for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, as we know from yesterday. She's been charged with investigating documents attached to the crimes that the government is prosecuting Sean Combs with, allegedly. And why does this matter? Because if the prosecution can prove Combs paid for just some of the alleged crimes using company funds, well, that's grounds for imprisonment, and it gets a lot deeper. But, for instance, the now infamous Frank Black alias that he used for hotel visits was used again in 2012 when his American Express card was charged in the amount of $46,786 just for hotel damages. And then in 2015, his card was charged for $950. And that was for linen damage and deep cleaning. These were all invoices that we were shown today. But it doesn't stop there. So documents included a mix, right? Like a hodgepodge of invoices from hotels, text messages, and videos of freak-offs. You heard right. So texts were shown involving the Intercontinental Hotel incident, and that's like a major crux, like centerpiece of the prosecution's case against Combs, right? It's become a major part. And what we saw were texts between Combs and Cassie involving the Intercontinental Hotel incident where Combs is seen dragging Cassie Ventura. And so we now know that Puff texted Cassie several times after she left the venue. One of those texts included him sending one where he said, "So you're going to abandon me all alone?" And he called her again twice after that. And he texted her and said, "Call me, please." That was at like 12:10 p.m. Eventually, though, he did get a reply. And she said, "I have a premiere Monday for the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. I have a black eye and a fat lip. It was time for me to go. You are sick for thinking it's okay to do what you've done." That's what she texted him. And then she added, "Please stay away from me. Please stay far away from me." So he called her. Even after that, she didn't answer. So then he texted her again and said, "I'm about to get arrested. Thanks." Days after the incident, he called her again and said, "Baby, I can't say it enough. I'm so sorry." Cassie replied again and said, "I still have crazy bruising from Friday. I would be a dummy to subject myself to that possibly happening again. When you get fucked up the wrong way, you always want to show me that you have the power, and you knock me around. I'm not a rag doll. I'm someone's child." Now, during cross-examination, Tenny Garagos took the podium and brought to light, through the same group of texts, a question as to why the government chose not to include more messages speaking to the couple's relationship. In a message from Cassie to Combs, she told the mogul she was always ready to freak off. Garagos even confirmed with Penland that those messages were left out of her investigation and overall report that has been presented between today and even yesterday. Another message included Cassie saying that she couldn't wait to look at a big black D-I-C-K, y'all, which was also left out. Monitors went black today, and those in the gallery, which included myself and other members of the press, and then, the general public on the other side of the room, we sat in silence while the jury, the judge, the defense, and the prosecution sat in front of their monitors with earphones on. For 4 minutes, we had to sit in silence while they watched videos of a freak-off featuring Cassie, Puff, and a man named Dave, y'all. Now listen, one member of the jury was watching and cringing. Another member was squinting their eyes. It was so uncomfortable. You could tell that the people did not want to watch porn, okay? With Astroglide and baby oil. Now, texts showed by the defense highlight Cassie's involvement in the planning of freak-offs. As for her feelings, a 2012 text that she sent to Puff told him that she was having sexy flashbacks of yesterday, referring to, obviously, a freak-off. That's it for today, y'all. That was my coverage of today's court proceedings for Tuesday. June 17th, I believe, 16th, 17th, for Essence Magazine. I am James R. Sanders, and court will resume on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at James R. Sanders. Thank you.